Far from others. An audio medium unlike anything you've ever heard before. The pinnacle of sound experience. Jacked and Canned. Featuring John Tessman and Colby Tyler. A place where you will get the information you crave. And hear about the topics that you love. Presented by themselves. Coming to you from the basement, bar, and the bedroom. Sponsored by no one. Jacked and Canned.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sports Roundtable with Jacked and Canned. John, how are we doing tonight? I get to actually say it now since we're going to record our normal episode tomorrow. This is actually going to be the only episode tonight. So how are you doing tonight, buddy? John Falco?
Doing good. Finally, you mentioned that. About time. I changed that a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the movie The Replacement. So I'm pumped, obviously, for those of you that don't know. I am a massive Shane Falco fan. So I'm rooting for him to come back. Brady retired. It's time for Falco to come out there. The Replacements, baby. Come on.
No, John, we're going to talk a little bit more tomorrow about Brady's retirement because I have some thoughts here, but don't make anything certain yet. We can't say it quite that way. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Tonight, we're just going to talk about the game of the Super Bowl itself. We're going to leave halftime talk for tomorrow, too, because I have a ton on halftime that I want to talk about, but I don't want to do it here and ruin what would be a sports-specific and sports-centric episode. So, John, you came over. We watched the game together. We had a blast. You just told me that Michelle's Chili has entered what evidently are nightmares, but not in the way that most people would think of nightmares, in the way that you're having nightmares because the chili is just simply asking you, do you want me? Do you want me?
Yes.
So, yeah, I know the answer is yes.
I need it. I don't want it. I need it, Colbs. It's a survival thing at this point, man. I need the chili. I need my fixings. I heard you say earlier, oh, it's peppers and beans. Colbs, it's everything in the chili.
Yeah, John's making this sound like the chili is simply made of several chili peppers and there's nothing else to this chili. It's a little bit of an insult, really, to not only chili as a whole, but to my wife's cooking. So I don't know what you're doing here, John.
No, I'm saying the ingredients. What are you talking about peppers? I'm saying the beans, the sauce, the peppers. It's all the ingredients are delicious.
And by the way, John, we also made sure to stock you, as you just pointed out behind me here on the couch, that we had all the bread for you. So you have nothing that could potentially even haunt you in nightmares. Now, is there anything about this game that you wanted to get off your chest before I dive into what will obviously be like a story, symphomatic thing that happens and takes place here on Jacked and Canned?
Of course, before we get into that, we have to mention who's on top. And the chili is on top, the bread is on top, all of that. So more to come on the NFL game, the Super Bowl, the biggest game of the year.
How did I forget that who's on top was still going to happen?
We're putting that on the sideline. Who cares about that game, right? It's over. It's done with. Who's on top now? That's what we want to know about now. Colbs, most important area, AHL. We're going over there, American Hockey League.
We're still doing the AHL.
We have to do the AHL. Okay. We have hardcore fans that want to hear about the AHL.
Yeah, I'm sure that that's what all of our fans are clamoring for is more minor league hockey talk.
Atlantic Division, Springfield Thunderbirds sitting on top, followed by the Hartford Wolfpack. The North Division, the Utica Comets. Central Division, the Chicago Wolves. Gosh, I love these names. Pacific Division, the Stockton Heat. Somebody needs to take them out. I kind of like the Henderson Silver Knights. Or the San Diego Gulls, just because it's like goal. I don't know. I like it. It's cool for me. So that's sitting on top over there in the AHL, Colbs. Any takes on the AHL?
No, we've never talked minor league hockey till last week, so I don't have any expertise to offer you on this particular subject. Why don't you move over to a professional sport?
NHL. Here we go. Eastern Conference Lightning sitting on top over there, 32-11. We're not saying OTL anymore. We're past that.
John, just do the team and the points. It'll be that much easier for you.
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
That's not the style.
Okay.
Lightning on top. Metropolitan Division, the Penguins on top. Honorable mention to the Rangers at 31-13 for OTL and 66 points. Western Conference, the Avalanche on top. Pacific Division, the Flames on top. And Colts.
Wait. The Flames are up top again?
They are.
Huh.
Colts, last 10 games, 9-1, 7-game winning streak. They overtook the Golden Knights.
By the way, I just want to point out here, Breaking Down the Tape is currently watching our stream here, and we are getting comments. I'm assuming this is Zach, but I'm not 100% sure. And John, at some point, you're probably going to want to check out some team names from the European American Football League. Granted, they might have a different name than that. I actually have no idea what they are referred to as. I am aware that there is European football. I don't know what the league's name would be.
Well, we're definitely going to have to check that out because now I'm in on that. All right, so that's the NHL. That's a little taste over there. And Zach, Hector, what's up from Breaking Down the Tape? Thanks for coming in here and showing us some love. Ladies and gents, go show them some love. Follow them. They're on all social media handles. They do a lot more than us. They're everywhere. At Breaking Down the Tape. All right? They are everywhere. Just type it in and you will see them, okay? They're our good friends. So definitely go ahead and go check them out. Show them some love. Colbs, NHL to the NBA.
Ugh.
All right.
Woof.
This is where it gets a little interesting.
Yeah.
Eastern Conference Heat sitting at the number 1 seed. 2.
You know what, John? Okay. I'm going to tell you something right now. I am actually going to be actively rooting for the Heat, considering that I don't think my Lakers are making the playoffs this year. So I'm going to be a Heat guy come playoff time. That's what I see unless LeBron finds his way in there. Obviously, if he does, I'm all in on him. I don't care if they go out in the first round. I'm still all in there. But the Heat are my secondary. That's who I want.
Hey, fair enough, man.
My favorite LeBron years were the 4 years with the Heat. I loved the first 9 years in Cleveland. I loved his 4 years returning to Cleveland. I love what he's done in LA. But those 4 years in Miami, that was special. Beyond what he's even been throughout his whole career, where he's always been special, that time in Miami to me was special to me specifically. So I will always take that. So if they don't make it in there, if LA is not in the playoffs, fine. I'll take the Heat. Heat in 5.
Hey, fair enough, man. I'm still rooting for the Lakers over there, though, to get it done.
Yeah, me too.
Going into the season, you had high expectations. I was like, Colts, they're not going to be that good.
You never said that.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought.
You actually told me that you thought they were going to be better than I thought they'd be.
Yeah, I did. And it's not over yet. It's not done, Colbs. Have some confidence in them. All right? We're going to get over there in a minute. Eastern Conference Heat, number 1, 2 Bulls, 3 Bucks, 4 Cavs, 5 76ers, 6 the Boston Celtics, number 7 the Raptors, 8 the Nets. What the hell's going on in the Nets?
John, the Sixers played the Celtics last night, and the Celtics won by 48 points. The Celtics absolutely creamed them. And obviously, James Harden didn't play, so this wasn't, one of these. This wasn't like the opening of James Harden starting in Philadelphia. But wow, do I think they need him? Because I think that game is indicative of what it is that team needs for playoff success, is just the guy that puts points on the board. And that's exactly what James Harden brings. Anyway, John, you can continue on. I don't mean to keep cutting you off here.
No, you're good, brother. What the hell's going on with the Nets, man?
Well, the Nets are dysfunctional, and Kevin Durant has been hurt for several weeks, so they're obviously just in a slide right now.
See, as far as like a really, I don't know, a basketball fan that doesn't really pay attention that well, Kevin Durant seems like he's been hurt for the last couple of years.
Well, yeah, he tore his Achilles not that long ago, so I think that ultimately that changes the structure of how it is that you play the game. So you're more apt to hurt other things because you're trying so hard not to re-tear the Achilles, because the Achilles is actually probably the worst injury you can have in basketball. So him trying to avoid that has led, I would assume, to his other injuries, whether it be other ligaments in the knee, whether it be just even muscle structure, whether it be quads, hammies, whatever the case may be. But you're always going to find players that have had Achilles injuries be consistently hurt on a more regular basis.
Hey, fair enough, man. Going over to the Western Conference. Colbs, the Western Conference for an outsider like myself looking in at the NBA seems a hell of a lot more competitive than the Eastern Conference. Would you say so?
I would say that there is there's more depth in the West, but I think that and honestly, yeah, I guess I would say that the top two teams are both also in the West. I just think that after Golden State and Phoenix, I think that when you drop from after them through your next however many teams, I think the majority of that does come out of the East. I think that the West dies out pretty early on after about maybe their fifth seed or so, fourth or fifth.
Yeah, man. Well, looking at the Western Conference, the reason why I said that, Suns sitting up top there, 47-10, Warriors 42-16, Grizzlies 41-18. Are you scared yet?
No, I keep not expecting you to do a grr after Memphis, and you keep doing it.
Oh, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, I
All right.
hope you do because it's going to keep catching me by surprise, and I actually enjoy it.
The Utah Jazz, the Mavs, the Nuggets, the
That's
Timberwolves.
who the Lakers got tonight, John. Is the Jazz.
Oh man, it's a big game. They need to get it done, Colbs. They need to get it done. The Jazz are a hot team. 6-game
That's what
winning
I'm going to be
streak.
doing as soon as we're done here. I'm going to go upstairs and watch the Lakers.
Fair enough, man. 6 Nuggets, 7 Timberwolves, 8 Clippers, and number 9 Colbs. Who are they?
Oh, that's still the Lakers, right? Yeah, they're
Yep.
9th seed.
Colbs, the Trailblazers, they kind of caught on. I mean, I know the last 10 games they're sitting 4-6, but a 3-game winning streak. Any hope of the?
Yeah, a little bit. They dished out CJ McCollum, and even though you would think that that would make them a lesser team, it seems that that has done nothing except for put the ball just simply in Dame Lillard's hands. And Damian Lillard is a phenomenal player, so it's not incredibly shocking to me that the Portland Trailblazers have gotten some things together here. I don't know what it really means for what the course of the rest of the season is going to be, but you could tie some things into that and maybe be hopeful as a Blazers fan as to what they will be for the majority of the rest of the season.
Colbs, shifting over here from the NBA. Actually, I want to tell you something. I placed a bet on the Lakers winning the NBA championship. And I think ever since I did that, the Lakers have been downsliding even worse than they were before they started losing more games. Like, come on,
Would you
really?
put 25 cents?
Oh, well, $1. So
Yeah, that's about right.
there you go. And ladies and gents, for those of you that don't know, we'll probably talk about it some more in the regular episode, but I put on some bets on the football game over the FanDuel. It's legal over here in Connecticut. And the way I bet is literally $5 is my max, right? I kind of I freak out, but I put Coles, what was it, a $5 or $10 bet?
No,
Odell.
John, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. We're going to talk
right.
about it on the regular episode tomorrow.
Teaser, so more to come with that. So, ladies and gents, I want to go ahead here, transfer over. All right, football might be done. Before we get to football, that's going to be a good segue into the NFL. We're going to go over to MLB. Football might be done, but the MLB is about to start, Colbs.
No,
what the
John,
freaking hell?
It's not about to start. Aren't they still on lockout?
Spring training is set to start on February 26th.
Is it going to? Because from what I heard, it sounds like nobody's come to an agreement and that we're not going to see any baseball in the near future.
Well, it was supposed to start. MLB, the locks, right? They're resuming Thursday. I don't think it's going to continue, Colbs. It's caught a lot of controversy between the last couple of days here, and there's just so much money at stake. If they continue with the lockout,
they will end up having a season, but I don't think we're going to see anything February 26th. I don't think we're going to see anything till end of March, maybe into April.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they come to it, sooner than later, because the only people it's going to hurt is really like the minor leaguers trying to prove their way. Listen, it's crappy. College kids, high school kids, they got COVID. The sports got taken away. So they're like, hey, no big deal. Yeah, go and enter the draft. You get drafted. You go into a spring training, club or something. You get in a minor league deal. And then you don't even know if that's going to happen. Crappy luck for the young folks out there making their way up, Colbs. I don't know. The past few years, I feel bad for them. Lockouts in sports, COVID. It's like, what the hell?
I guess what happens when you're a kid, just bad shit happens. I don't know what else to tell you. You have to live through it. That's what's important about being a kid. You got to live through it.
Colbs, it was pretty fun though for us when we were 20, 21 years old. We were jumping around. We were going all around the place. We were having a good time.
Yeah, you can do that at home too. You don't need to have a $100,000 contract in order to have fun as a 20-year-old.
Fair enough, man.
I made like $7 an hour.
Yep. Okay. All right. Colbs has some resentment. All right. He has some resentment. It's easy to tell right there with the voice. So
I don't feel bad for these kids.
Anyhow, MLB, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for some of the players over there. USFL, Colbs. USFL. God, I'm pumped. 5 days away. You going to watch it?
Probably not.
Oh, my God. You're so boring. The inaugural playoffs championship game is going to be in the birthplace of football. Where is the birthplace of football, Colbs?
What, Canton, Ohio?
Bingo. Canton, Ohio. That's where it's going to be played. You got to get pumped for that. It's going to be played on June 25th in Canton, Ohio. Big championship game.
Didn't you just say it's 5 days away?
5 days away from the regular season starting up.
Oh, the championship will be June 25th.
Yep.
Okay. I thought you were placing June 25th, 5 days away. I was about to tell you that you clearly do not know how a calendar works.
Back to the future, baby. Back to the future. So I just want to mention, I don't think we went over all of them, but some of the teams I'm already in on it. New Jersey Generals, the Michigan Panthers, Philadelphia Stars, the Pittsburgh Maulers, the Birmingham.
Does Michigan have Panthers?
I do.
I don't feel like they do.
I don't feel like they do, but I like it. I like it. And I think that's going to be your team. I think you're going to choose them. I don't know why, but
good. Now I have a USFL team. Woo-hoo.
The Birmingham Stallions. I love that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty good name.
Or the Houston Gamblers. I'm in on that too.
Yeah, you know what? I could get behind the Houston Gamblers. I mean, that sounds like a good team right there.
I like this one. I don't know why as well, but the New Orleans Breakers. I don't know. It just seems, I don't know.
Some of those team names are actually really bad. Breakers. What the hell? What, they just run around and they break shit? Like, what is that?
I do love this last one here, the Tampa Bay Bandits. And their logo is so
Bandits.
Cool.
What? Because Raiders and Buccaneers were already chosen in professional leagues, so they had to pick something cheesier?
Oh, geez, Colbs. No,
the USFL pick bad team names all in all.
The Houston Gamblers?
I'm pretty sure there's no Panthers in Michigan, by the way.
Fair enough, Colbs. Killing hopes and dreams, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I know you want to root for these other football leagues, but you got to pick cooler names. Like, granted, I guess the Arizona Cardinals aren't really that cool of a team name, but I mean, they've been there for so long, we just got used to it.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I'm going to be tuning into the games. I think it's going to be great. I'm going to have to see them on rerun because I won't be able to watch them live. And I have no idea where it's going to be televised, if it's going to be on Fox or where it's going to be. But, Colbs, why not take advantage of the market for football? It's the hottest thing out there right now. It's the hottest sport. I think, especially with baseball having a lockout, people are like, baseball? Yeah, what about
John,
baseball?
Baseball's like number 4 at this point as far as what the national recognition is. It's the NFL, it's the NBA, it's college football, and then MLB comes kind of sliding in.
Yeah, and it keeps falling though, and I don't think a lockout.
As it should. It's a boring ass game to watch.
Hey, one quick other segment here, and I'm going to kick it over to you, Colbs. The Winter Olympics 2022 here. Do you know who's sitting on top by any chance?
Is it still Russia?
Norway.
All right, cool. Good for Norway.
So sitting there with 13
of
gold.
Course, Norway and Russia are two of the guys leading the Winter Olympics. That makes so much sense.
Well, hang on. Not Russia. Things have changed, buddy.
Oh, Russia's not in there anymore.
All right. We got Norway sitting number 2, Germany Number 3, the United States. 4, China. And that's our top 4 right over there. And I stopped going down because it looks like that's pretty much from a
Everybody
medal
else
count
is tied after
standpoint.
that.
What was that?
Was it because everybody else is tied after the first 4?
Oh, actually, ROC is up there. I misspoke. But for combined medals, but Colbs, we're only going for gold, right? We don't care about the combined medals. We want the gold.
I mean, I
That's
think combined medals is what wins you the Olympics. I don't think it's just simply golds, but yeah, we'll go with whatever you want, John.
I wonder how that works. If a country wins, let's say 25 gold medals, but another country wins 27 cumulative medals, but no gold medals, who would be the best one?
John, I don't know the answer. That would be
Exactly
something we'd
my
have to
point.
look up.
We're going gold, baby. We're going gold, baby. Come on, Colbs, kick us
Did you call
off.
me Betty?
I did. I called you Betty, and then I
Yeah,
called you
okay.
baby.
I thought I heard that right. I just wanted to make sure. So, John, we got to witness Super Bowl Sunday. Oh, and Super Bowl Sunday was grand, and it all started. I got to take a nice hot shower. John brought me home from work. Very sweet of him. I went up and I showered. I came out. I was getting ready. I was writing down all the bets that I had made for the game, and I heard the voice of Al Michaels. And wow, does every Super Bowl need to start with the voice of Al Michaels, because that man is a goddamn legend. Oh, John, in all seriousness, I love Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. That's probably my favorite broadcast duo. Nance and Romo is fun, but it's mostly just because I really enjoy Romo annoying Nance. By the way, never get rid of Jim Nance in the CBS booth, because I want Romo to always annoy him, and that's what brings me joy. But hearing Al Michaels' voice, oh, that just brought me there. That's what I needed that night. I needed Al Michaels. John, before the game, what were you thinking?
Before the game, man, I was just pulling for Matt Stafford. That's what I was thinking, man. I was excited to see the Rams play. Of course, I was excited about the element of the Super Bowl as well, right? That brings its own prestige factor to it. And I was getting a little jazzed up for the Super Bowl commercials. And I was getting ready to play a little bingo with Michelle, and I got a little discouraged because they had this bingo game, and I thought you had to, pay attention to it the whole time, and I would have been screwed. I wasn't ready to pay attention and, write down how many attempts and rushes, just because I wouldn't be able to. I'd break my concentration too much. All the props in the world to Michelle. She was ready to keep track of it. Thank God the bingo card started lighting up on its own.
She would have hit bingo the second that damn thing went off. She would have been like the second person in the whole world to hit bingo.
Yes, Colbs, because that many people watching the Super Bowl, like, I'm not playing that kind of bingo, right? So she would have won, and the prize would have been millions. But unfortunately, the prize wasn't millions.
So, John, to start this game off, we had a little bit of a strange kind of coinciding thing, right? Where something that ended up being something that was game long, not something that just was in the beginning, but the Rams could not run the football. The leading rusher for the Rams was Cam Akers. He carried it 13 times for 21 yards. Like, that was the leading rusher of the Rams. And we saw that early on. They kept handing Cam Akers the ball, but he kept not going anywhere.
Kept getting stuffed.
Yeah, just immediately. So the Rams had no run game, which obviously impacted what their whole entire game plan was going to be. And on the other side, we saw Joe Burrow really not making great throws. And I know that Joe Burrow did have a solid game. I'm not going to take that away from him. But, John, I was mentioning it to you, and I think you had caught notice of it as well. A lot of these balls were just hitting Jamar Chase like at the fingertips, and he was just reeling it in. This wasn't something where Joe Burrow was just putting it right on the money. Joe Burrow was throwing some balls that just were just enough that Jamar Chase could pull in. That was all it was.
Just a bit outside, just like that movie Major League. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yeah.
Just a bit outside. But yeah, he was a little bit off, so his accuracy seemed to be somewhat of a problem. Now, I wanted to see him do good, right? I was kind of excited to see Joey Cool go out there and go celebrate on the boat and see how he could throw the trophy
God, I would have loved that.
from boat to boat, right? I think that would have been a great time. But for the Bengals, you know what? they're going to be around for a while. Looks like they got a competitive team. Colbs, I'm curious if they're going to be able to hold everybody together. And you know how it is in football world.
Oh, no, no, no.
Football-
The Bengals will be fine because all their players are young. So those guys, they don't have massive deals yet, and there's still a lot of them on their rookie contracts. They're not able to get paid more just now. Now the Rams guys is a different story because the
Yep.
Rams, you have all that money in Stafford, you have all that money in whatever Odell Beckham's remaining contract is. You have all the money. I mean, granted, you get back the Whitworth money, which will help. You got all that money in Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. They are very close to the cap as it is. And I don't think that they paid Cooper Kupp yet. And that's going to be, that's the make or break right there. And honestly, I think to sign or to re-sign Cooper Kupp, they probably have to ship off at least maybe one of those pieces, but probably more likely than not, they'll probably have to say goodbye to Von Miller and then one of those other guys. So I don't know exactly what the Rams do here. And obviously, I do not think they will ever get rid of Aaron Donald. And also, there is some talk that Aaron Donald might retire, which would give them some beneficiary points here. Because if Aaron Donald retires, and granted, nobody in football other than me wants to see that, and it's only not because I don't like Aaron Donald, I just don't want him chasing around Russell Wilson anymore. But if he retires, the Rams now have, between Whitworth and Donald, all of that salary money back. And that really helps. But otherwise, that Rams team, they're going to break apart. There's just not enough money.
He is not retiring. He will not.
I don't think he will either.
No. I saw a video of him today. He's cutting loose on the boat out there. He ain't thinking about retiring. He's like, I'm thinking about doing this all over again. So he ain't going to be retiring.
How did we get this whole game where I'm just sitting there staring at the TV like, how the hell has he not noticed that he can just throw it to Cooper Kupp? Not because Cooper Kupp was incredibly open, but because just if you throw it to Cooper Kupp, he's just going to catch the ball. It always happens. We waited 3 full quarters, more than half of the fourth quarter. We got down to about 3 minutes left in the game, and all of a sudden it hit Stafford. You know what? Nobody else is catching the ball. Odell Beckham got hurt. Let me just throw it to Cooper Kupp. And it turns out that that's what won the game and won Cooper Kupp Super Bowl MVP. So I just, to me, that's just phenomenal. Like, you've spent the whole playoffs. Cooper Kupp not only had a historic regular season, but he had a touchdown streak. He's the first player, I think, in any playoff history that caught touchdown passes in every single playoff game throughout the course of the playoffs. Cooper Kupp has done things this year that nobody's done. Not Jerry Rice, not Randy Moss, not Terrell Owens, not anybody. We're talking one of the greatest seasons of all time, Cooper Kupp. And Matt Stafford didn't think, hey, maybe I should just try to throw the ball to him until there was like 4 minutes left. It's like, dude.
I'm happy for Kupp because he's that damn good and he's that electric. And with Matt Stafford going there, a great quarterback, and we saw that duo, Calvin Johnson. There wasn't much better ones out there ever. And we got to see it again with Cooper Kupp. So it's good to see him united with a very good quarterback. Now I'm hopeful for Goff, and I want to see if he can make it happen with the Lions.
I'll let you be hopeful on that. I am not going to back you there.
St. Brown.
Yeah, you do you, buddy.
Amon St. Brown, you're not in on him?
Well, I mean, maybe him, but not Goff.
All right, there we go. Hey, I could take that, though, as long as you're in on him. At least I'll win you over on something, Colbs. I'm not going to win you on XFL. I'm not going to win you on USFL, right?
John, who do you think should have been the Super Bowl MVP?
Oh, well, definitely Odell was on pace for it because you could just see the connection that was going on.
Well, yes, I don't disagree with you there, but he didn't get to finish the game and he went out in the first half. So he couldn't have been the Super Bowl MVP. Who should it have been, John?
Well, I know me and you were talking game night, and I wouldn't have felt comfortable with Aaron Donald. I know he had 2 sacks, and I understand that. And people probably saw it and looking at the stat book, but it didn't appear that way that he should have gotten it. So even though his presence was definitely known and it's a big contributing factor into why they ended up winning the game, Man, I could see Cup. I was kind of surprised that it was Cup, but I guess if you do have 2 touchdown receptions, I think what Colbs, he barely had 100 yards or maybe a little bit over 100.
If I'm not mistaken,
90
you know what? I
something.
have it right here. He had 92 yards.
92 yards. So that's still a pretty damn good game, especially the last drive, I think had a lot to do with that determination for
Yes,
making
and
him.
I heard a recent interview with Peter King where he was getting text because he has an MVP vote for the Super Bowl, and there were other voters that were texting him like, "Hey, who'd you pick?" And Peter King said, "Well, I want to wait for the game to end first. I don't want to just put in my vote right now. I want to wait for it to come close to the end because I
Right.
don't know who I would pick as of right now."
That's fair. That's how it should be, right? That's what I think.
Yeah, in all seriousness, one that I think of back in 2002, or I guess technically 2003, when the Bucks won the Super Bowl in that particular season, Dexter Jackson, who was the safety, won the MVP of the Super Bowl, and he had 2 interceptions. They were early on in the game. In the second half, they had a corner named Dwight Smith, who also had 2 interceptions, one of which he brought back for a touchdown right at the end of the game. And I always said, Dwight Smith should be the MVP of this game. And Dexter Jackson ends up winning it. Not that I have anything against Dexter Jackson, just I think Dwight Smith should have won the MVP that particular season. But the only reason that he didn't is that the votes had already been casted.
Yeah, that's kind of lame. You got to wait until the end of the game. So much can happen. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you can vote it early. So, Cobes, what do you mean? Like, people are going to be placing their votes in the third quarter?
Not necessarily the third quarter, but the NFL, from what I understand, tries to pressure them to get their votes in early so
Oh.
so more or less for fluidity, so that when the game ends, you could do all the awards in one
Mm.
shot and make everything happen. But I personally, if I was a voter for that, I would wait until that clock hits double zeros, or at least until it's down to like kneel downs. Like
Yeah,
I
when
wouldn't be able to cast a vote before then. And John, you and I were sitting here on this couch right behind me, not able to predict who the MVP was going to be. We're both looking at each other like it's one of these 3 guys, but I
Mhm.
don't know which one we pick. Like it could have been Stafford. I mean, he had 2 picks, but one of them wasn't his fault. Cooper Kupp, he had a drive, but there wasn't much else that he did in the game. He had another touchdown throughout the game, but he didn't have a phenomenal game by his own standards. And Aaron Donald, I mean, he had 2 sacks, but he was actually more irrelevant in this game than he had been in most other games really all his career. So it was tough to say like, hey, this guy should be the guy. There wasn't that one person this time.
There really wasn't. But looking at it all in all, Cooper Cup, you know what? I'm totally fine with that decision. It's still a very, very good game. And he's going to be held to an extremely high standard going into next year. So that's going to be interesting to see how the Rams kind
Well,
of.
I mean, if this season was indicative of what the rest of his career is going to be, it doesn't matter if the eyes are on him because evidently, as soon as he runs a route, everybody else just goes away. I don't
Fair
know what
enough.
happens, but they just disappear. It's like he's got
So,
like a force field around him.
Colbs, let me ask you this. Odell Beckham, obviously, when he left, he had a pretty good season there with the Browns. Not last year, I'm not talking about. The first season that he went, I think it was over 1,000 yards. Now,
Yeah,
it was kind of downhill from there. Okay. And we know obviously how that all played out. So we're not going to get into it too much. But he went to the Rams, got into the end zone again. He became a touchdown threat like the old Odell.
became a
Now,
touchdown machine.
yes. So did he just kind of spark himself a little bit more new life with the
Yes.
Rams going forward?
Yes, 100% he did. Odell Beckham is going to be somebody that is sought after. I don't know if his career immediately goes back to the Rams or not. I don't know what's left on that particular contract. So if this is something where he's hitting free agency now, and I just don't know the answer to this, I haven't looked into it. But if he's hitting free agency now, I don't think the Rams will have the money to re-sign him. But regardless of if he stays in Los Angeles or if he is elsewhere, he will be paid and he will be featured.
Fair enough, man. I was just curious about your take on that. And I did notice that you mentioned Whitfield, right? The offensive lineman, I think the right tackle for the Rams there.
Left tackle, Andrew
Left
Whitfield.
left tackle. And Weddle or Weddle, how do I say it? Weedle?
Eric Weddle.
Weddle.
Yes, the safety.
I'm getting it confused with the Pokemon Weedle because I used to play Pokemon all the time.
Yep,
so
Eric
that's why.
Weddle has 2 Ds and 1 E. Weedle the Pokemon has 2 E's and 1 D.
That's interesting that you know that. I used to love Weedle. But anyways, all right. So I didn't realize until after the game, right? When he went to the sideline, me and you were watching, and he ended up getting a little banged up and he ended up like seriously injuring himself. He showed a picture after the game. It was like Triple H after a WWE match, like, you know, how they're blowing out their quads all the time. I'm like, damn, we blew out his pec. It's all purple and blue.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
like,
these guys for a living, what they do is they lift weights and then run into each other at full speed. Like, I mean, of course they get hurt.
Ghost, this is going to sound terrible. I did see a funny video, and I'm not saying it's funny because he ended up getting injured, but I saw an old flashback video of Vince McMahon running down to the ring, and he goes into the ring, and he
Oh,
goes
when he
stand-
tore his leg on his slide
No.
into the ring.
both quads. He blew them both. I guess that's what it was mentioned. I don't know if it's true, but I guess he blew them both. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? So that's why he was just sitting in the ring, and I'm like, that sucks. But determination in the face. That dude, he was the ultimate king. At getting just people rowdy.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure if Vince McMahon had a stroke in the middle of the ring, he'd still be able to perform. Like nothing stops him.
No, nothing stops him. Nothing stops him at all. So that's awesome, man. But Colbs, dude, I see we're about our 36-minute mark here. It's been an awesome roundtable. Do you got another take we want to talk about before we go ahead and get things wrapped up?
No, what we're gonna do, John, I do have one more thing that I want to do, but I'm gonna save it for tomorrow because we still have a little bit more Super Bowl post-game coverage, if you will, to cover. So we're gonna tie it into that. I want to talk a little bit about the introduction of the teams tomorrow. I want to talk about the halftime show, and I want to talk a little bit about the thoughts of next year. So join us tomorrow night, probably around the same time. We're going to get together here. We're going to make things happen. John, promote us before we get out of here.
Ladies and gents, it's been another episode of Jacked and Can. Check us out online. If you're curious, you want to know more about the show, you want to be on the show, you want to write something in, who knows, whatever the hell it is, you want something from us, you don't want something from us, you hate us, you love us, jackedandcanned@gmail.com. Remember that. Ladies and gents, this has been another episode of
Jacked and Canned.
Round